It's hot in here. Our next storyteller is a improviser and actor and all-around funny guy. Please give it up for Mike Maghiar.
Hey everybody, my name's Mike Maghiar, and I'm going to tell you a story about my childhood. And I was born in Romania, and usually when I tell people about Romania, I usually get two answers. One is, I have no idea what that is, and the other one is people reminding me of that South Park episode where it was described as the asshole of the world. Both of those things are equivalent to me. And growing up in Romania, in a former communist country, there's a lot of things that I was witness to that I don't think really anybody here would experience in their lives. One of which was these things called bread lines. And in order to get bread and milk and dairy when I was growing up, your parents would have to go out and through word of mouth with their friends, they had like these kind of secret hush-hush gatherings. You would figure out which stores would have milk and dairy and meat on which days, and they would literally go out and wait in line. I think because the powers that be that controlled the country thought that capitalism was represented by a piece of salami, and they didn't really want any kind of influence to break us away from the motherland. So my Saturdays would start something like this. It would be my dad coming in and saying, hey, I'm going to go to this store and wait in the bread line. Your mom is going to go to this store and wait for dairy, and then your grandma's going to go wait for meat at a different store, and in 10 to 14 hours, hopefully we all come back together and you get to eat a sandwich. So these kinds of things were common all the time, and to kind of eat more than once or twice a month whenever you'd be able to have the ability to get bread and meat and cheese in these lines, most people's parents would have farms, and we had a farm as well. And it was extremely old. It was a building whose walls were made of dirt, whose ceilings were made of dirt, and whose floors were made of dirt, which made cleanup really, really easy. On these compacted dirt floors, if you dropped even a little bit of water, it would basically turn into kind of a communist version of a slip and slide. And that's very important, and I need you guys to remember that for later. We had all kinds of animals on this farm, like pigs, chickens, all sorts of things. But we also had a prehistoric beast that was the size of a VW Beetle, that was this gigantic male pig with these crazy looking fangs. And whenever this thing would go feed, we would have to clear the courtyard of any dogs, cats, chickens, other pigs, because it would just eat anything. And all was well and good until one day when my parents forgot to tell me that this pig was going to be set loose. So I'm sitting in the yard and I'm just kind of playing around, looking at this gigantic pile of manure that was always there. And all of a sudden I hear this crazy, guttural, just horrible, I'm about to die sound. And I see the shadow of this car-sized pig coming around the corner. So I was 8 years old, and I immediately shit my pants and book it as hard as I possibly can to the front door of the house. Now, if you remember, I told you that the floor was made of compact dirt. Unbeknownst to my 8-year-old self, someone had spilled some water on the floor. So I'm running at what feels like 87 miles an hour trying to get away from this pig that's going to eat me alive. Because I had determined in my 8-year-old mind that this is not how my story ends. Okay? I'm not going to get eaten by a pig in a communist country at 8 years old. That's not how it's going to end for me. So I'm running, trying to get into this house. I hit the patch of the communist slip and slide, and I go flying into a cabinet. And the only thing that I remember is me and this pig made eye contact. And I stared at him and he stared at me. And he was going to eat me. So I mustered up whatever strength I had left and I kicked the gate to the door shut right in his dumb pig face. And somehow, I made it out alive out of that ordeal. I spent the next 12 months convincing my parents to kill and eat this pig, which they would not do because apparently this pig was better at screwing the other pigs than any other pig in the neighborhood. So my brush with near death was not enough to warrant them killing a pig that fucked other pigs really good. Priorities, I guess. We also had chickens on this farm. And one summer, we had a bunch of little chicks laying around, and there was one that was like kind of the smaller runt of the whatever the equivalent of a chicken litter is. I don't know, gaggle, whatever. And I liked this little guy for whatever reason. Him and I kind of formed a bond, and I named him Tarzan. And I don't know if he was a boy chicken, just for the record. I don't know if he was a boy chicken or a girl chicken because I'm not really sure what boy chicken parts are or what girl chicken parts are. But in my mind, his name was Tarzan. And I trained this chicken to come to me when I would call it. I would call his name and I would whistle and it would come to me. It wouldn't act like any of the other chickens, be all like skittish and whatever. And it would just come to me, it would sit on my lap, and I would pet it and it would fall asleep. And I would feed it from my hand, and him and I would hang out. We'd go on adventures together. We would go find dead bodies in the woods. We would sit around, look at the clouds, tell each other what kind of shapes we'd see. Just generally have a really good, solid relationship. And right out of the gate, I told my parents, I was like, listen, this chicken is going to live on this farm, and he's going to grow to his old chicken age. He's going to die of natural causes. You are not going to take this chicken away from me. You got your stupid fucking pig, I'm keeping this chicken. So, him and I forged this crazy bond. I teach him how to stand on my shoulder. And we would walk around with him on my shoulder like some crazy communist Captain Hook hybrid. And just generally, just have a great time. And towards the end of the summer, it was time for me to go back into the city and look forward to the once-a-month sandwich from the breadlines. And we were eating dinner and just saying our goodbyes and whatever. And after having eaten everything, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna find Tarzan because I want to say goodbye. And so I'm looking around and I'm like, what the hell is this? Like I'm just going around the yard going, Tarzan, come here, buddy, come here. Nothing. Usually he would just come around from whatever corner or spot he was in. He would just come right out and come run at me. I spent like 3 hours looking for this chicken, you guys. You guys know what's coming. The entire time, my parents are just not really helping at all. They're just kind of like sitting around the side, and I'm like, guys, seriously, I'm not going back anywhere until you tell me where this chicken is. And my grandma pulls me aside, and she's like, hey, we need to talk. And she was like, well, your great-grandma forgot which one was Tarzan. You ate him for dinner 30 minutes ago. And I'm okay now. I mean, sure, I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars on therapy, but who hasn't? Moral of the story is, you guys, vegetarians have it right because you can't accidentally eat your best friends. And in case anybody here is thinking that this story is made up, this is a picture of me with Tarzan. Yeah!